right, welcome back everybody for another episode of Hidden Gems. This is the video series where I talk about those little hidden treasures, those things that might still be tucked away in those back issue bins at your LCS or wherever you buy your comics. These might not necessarily be dollar bin type books, they could be priced books, they could even be up on a wall, but these are things that are usually underpriced when you go into stores and shops and things you might be able to find for cheap out there in the wild. Hopefully you enjoy this series as well as everything else here on Rennavision. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Make suggestions. I take suggestions, I log them all down, and I cover them once I have the opportunity. So hopefully you enjoy that. Let me know what you think. Like I said, like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And yeah, if you want to see what hidden gems I have for you this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so I got another hodgepodge of options for you, and I might even have a few speculation type books. These are some books that I just personally like and think that there might be a little undervalued and there might be some room to grow there. But regardless, they're still pretty cheap in some of these cases, and even if you buy in and nothing happens, you didn't put a lot out there. And the first book that kind of fits in line with that idea, that thinking, is something I've been talking about on I think the last show or two, where I was getting into Annihilation. Like, I'm thinking we might be getting Annihilation in some form in the MCU. And if we do, these books are all probably going to pop, just like Civil War did, Infinity Gauntlet, all of the Marvel storylines before for events, all have hit one time or another once that confirmation had dropped. So if we get any sort of confirmation of Annihilation, expect this series to be next on the list. And here we actually have a variant. A lot of places are listing this as a 1 in 15. I can't confirm if it's a 1 in 15 incentive or not, but that's where a lot of information is putting it as. It's definitely a variant. It's definitely harder to find than the regular issue for issue 1 of Annihilation, regardless of what that incentive might be. But if it is a 1 in 15, a 1 in 10 even, this is a book I'd keep an eye on, because for these prices, I think there's an opportunity to be had there. If you look now, copies have sold for as cheap as $7 and $5, just in the last few months. And that one was the best offer on $5.39. They accepted $5. Super cheap for this book. And like I said, this is a variant for Annihilation, and a pretty cool one at that. Like, you don't get a lot of Annihilus covers, let alone variant covers like this. So this is a book that I like for a couple of different reasons. But hey, you let me know what you think about this one in the comments as well. If you want to look at what's online right now, even though there are some copies like $23, most of the copies are more like $10-12. Even online right now. Keep an eye out for those auctions, as you saw those before, that those can actually go for a lot less. But outside of auctions, even at the buy it now and best offer prices, some of these are still very affordable and very cheap. As I said, the opportunity is there. Who knows if anything's going to come of it? I'm not saying anything's definitely going to come of it. I'm just saying I like this book personally. Now, another opportunity I think that's starting to get out of, it's not getting out of reach, but it's starting to move. The train is starting to move on our next option here, and that is America. America Chavez, who was probably, in my estimation, the highlight of Doctor Strange 2. I enjoyed the character. I look forward to seeing more of her as a character. And as her first appearance is well out of the reach of a lot of people these days, that Vengeance #1, just like Miles and Gwen before her and Kamala Khan, what happens after those first appearances get so far out of reach and get so high priced? Those first solo series start to follow suit. Look at those Ultimate Spider-Mans, as like I said. Look at the Spider-Gwen comics, the individuals after Edge of Spider-Verse. Look at like I said, the first issues of Ms. Marvel. The first issues of their solo series usually follow suit, and it looks like this is starting to happen with America Chavez right now. So her first solo, America, I think this was in 2017, is an interesting series. And if they give her like our own Disney Plus show, there could be some craziness to be had, especially when you tie into the multiverse and what wonkiness they could follow. Because some of the stories, even in here, like with the wrestling grandma that Marco likes to talk about a lot, that's also in issue #2. We'll get to that. But there's a lot of opportunities for some fun stories if they decide to give her more to do in the MCU. But this book, like I said, it's already starting to, the train's starting to move, because this is starting to inch up a little bit. This is already $25 already for this issue 1. But as I said, go look at the prices of where some of those other younger Marvel characters have gone with those first solo series, and they quickly start jumping into those $50, $100, and then you start talking about graded copies. Those things get out of reach pretty quickly, and this was not a heavily printed series, so I'm not saying buy in at these prices. I'm just saying this is something to keep an eye on, and if you can find it for cheaper in your shop, I think there's opportunity for more to be made. I think these are still going to keep going up a little bit. And if you look at some of the asking prices, even right now, they're still in that $25 to $30 range, but there are some higher and some lots to be had out there where there'll be multiple issues in the run. And basically, this 12-issue run, I'm going to do a few of these books. I think it's a good idea to keep an eye on all of them. I mean, look at what happened with the Ironheart books. Look what happened with the Kate Bishop Hawkeyes, Shuri. Every one of these characters, their individual solo series eventually started to heat up a little bit, and those prices just started to slowly grow over time, where the individual random issues start costing 10 to 15 bucks each. And these are things you might still find for cover price tucked away in a box somewhere. So just something to keep in mind. That's all I'm saying. So that's issue 1, which is obviously the one people are going to look at. And of course, there are plenty of variants to be had as well. Keep an eye on all of those as well. But those are already pretty pricey and could be a tall order to buy in now. But if you find any of that stuff for cheap, I'd consider picking it up if you can. And as I mentioned in issue 2, a pretty cool cover here. You got both Captain Marvels, on her sides there. And like I said, Wrestling Grandma, I think, first appears in this issue as well. I can't think of what her name is. Begins with an M. But she first appears in this crazy issue. And like I said, these things start to tick up. The issue 1 and 2 together in a lot sold for 30 bucks. But this is like $10 on its own. You can see May 6th, that one just sold for. So even these individual issues after issue 1 are starting to pick up. Like I said, you look at the asking prices on issue 2, $13 to $20 already. There's where the asking prices start to go. And we'll see where they start going from there. Jumping a few issues ahead, just randomly picking an issue from the series just because of the cover. Issue 5, which has, Hawkeye and the Pizza Dog, both on the cover there with America Chavez. I think this is a Jen Bartel cover. So this is a pretty cool cover to get on a regular issue for pretty cheap of a series that could start to see a little action coming up. So this is another book that I like keeping an eye on because right now, even now, the price is $8. A copy sold for 12 bucks, not somewhat recently. I mean, yes, if you can find it for cover is more what I'm talking about. I'm not saying buy $10, $12 right now. I'm just saying keep an eye on these things. And you look at the asking prices again, 12 bucks to 20 bucks. These are all starting to pick up a little bit. They're already starting to move. And if we get to the end of the series, which I think I have talked about before, months ago, and even in Dollar Bin Digging, those final issues, those are the ones that start to get lower printed. And they're already pretty pricey. And the same can be said for this series. So issue 11 is an example of that. This is the second to last issue. Print runs a lot lower. You can see here, copies can sell for cheap. Look, somebody got one for $4, $4.25 on May 5th. But then you look before that, issue 11 and 12 together, $31. Issue 11 on its own, best offer on 40. They accepted $27.50. So like $30 for this book on its own, potentially. But you might be able to sneak some for cheap, even online. When you look at those auctions, I'm telling you, watch the auctions. And available copies for this, it's $20 to $40 are the asking prices for this number 11 already. So this one, like I said, this is already a pretty steep price. So if you can find this in a shop for like cover price or anything like that, you've done pretty well already. I don't know how much more this one can go, but hey, who knows? As all of the books pick up steam, I think everything will follow suit, including the final issue, which is, like I said, also another pricey one already. Issue 12, this one's been selling for, what are we looking at here? Best offers, accepting $45, and then there's that offer on 11 and 12 that we had last time out with $31. So that same sale, but covers both of these books, which is why you see it twice there. And that was on May 3rd. And if you look at the asking prices for this one, the asking prices on this one are a lot higher, as they're starting at $60 right now for the buy it nows. You look at the buy it nows and best offers out there, they're starting $60, $80, $100 for this issue 12, this final issue of the series. So this is one that's already pretty pricey. So if you could find it tucked away in a box, $10, $20, you might be finding yourself a deal already. So keep that in mind for this particular book. Now, I'm going to move off of Marvel now for a little bit. I know I've been talking a lot about Sonic lately the last couple of weeks because that's all my son talks about. So I'm getting Sonic in my ear. But it's also got me thinking that there is still a lot of opportunity and a lot of knowledge to be had buried in these Sonic the Hedgehog comic books. There's been multiple series over the years, a lot of first appearances, a lot of characters that could still be showing up. And as you saw last week, I think it was with Dollar Bin Digging, that first Shadow book, it's like over $200 plus for a character we know is coming. So now we start looking at some other things, maybe other potential characters that could be showing up, and let's maybe look at there first and just be mindful of it, because I know a lot of people out there probably aren't that knowledgeable when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog. So let's start talking about a little bit of Sonic. And the first one I want to talk about is actually very early in the run. This is issue 4 of that Archie series. Issue 4 of that series is the first time in the comics where we get our look at Supersonic, who we did see in that last movie. Again, if I'm spoiling Sonic 2 for you, I'm sorry. I mean, it's been like a month now. You had your shot. But he does go a little bit yellow for a stretch in the movie, so we did get Supersonic, which is kind of cool. And you can see there in the panels and the pages of this number 4 is where we first got the glowing yellow Supersonic. And you're thinking, oh, this is early Sonic's probably super expensive. It's not. Look, 20 bucks. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it's super cheap, but 20 bucks ain't that bad for a sale back in April. When you look at copies that are listed right now, there's a pair of issues 3 and 4 together for asking 20 bucks or $25 for just it on its own. So, yeah, there it is. If you can find it somewhere buried in a box for cheap, buried in a kid box, cover price, $5, whatever it might be, dollar bin book, these are the kinds of things I want you to be aware of, because there could be a few dollars to be made even now, let alone what could happen if we get a little bit more exposure and a little bit more knowledge of what we're going to get in Sonic 3. Because we know we're definitely getting a third movie. We just don't know who we're getting apart from the tease of Shadow. And I know I mentioned Amy Rose on that Dollar Bin Digging video. Go back and check that out if you haven't seen it. But again, there are a lot more Sonic characters that we could potentially be getting. And that's what I'm saying. My son's been yapping in my ear, telling me about all these other cool characters that he can't wait to see in hopes that we get, including Silver. Silver the Hedgehog. Yes, it's like a silver version of Sonic, like a silver version of Shadow. There's another character that could potentially be dropping in. I know it all seems redundant and seems ridiculous, but kids love this stuff. Don't get it twisted. Kids love this stuff, and we loved this stuff when we were kids, so it's not surprising. But this is Sonic the Hedgehog number 194. Yeah, we're 190 issues later after that last one. That's how long Sonic the Hedgehog, the comic, was running for at Archie. So issue 194 has the first appearance of Silver in it, and this book is already a little bit pricey. So if you find it in a box, you've already done pretty well, because 2009, when this came out, $50 ask, they accepted 44 bucks. At the end of April, and then also in April, buy it now for $40. So this is already kind of an expensive book. But if you find it for cheap in a box, you might have done all right. And you can even see the asking price is a very good plus copy, asking $40, and another copy asking 80 bucks right now. These Sonic books ain't no joke, so that's what I'm saying. Know which issues you should be aware of in case you luck into a box or a stretch of Sonic comics in a bin somewhere for cheap. Just know which ones to keep an eye out for. And 194 is one of those issues, as is a different series, Sonic Universe, issue number 59. Pretty cool Shadow cover. We see these other characters here. I think that's Rogue or Rouge. I can't remember what her name is. That's the little white character there down below. But this issue also has a very awesome Shadow cover, like a B cover variant, as well as the first appearance of Eclipse, the Dark something. I can't remember what it is. Again, son tried to explain this stuff to me. I don't get it all. Maybe I'm just too old, but I know enough to listen to know where I should be looking for these books, because these books are already a little bit pricey. But check out that B cover. That variant of Shadow is really, really cool. That look over the shoulder. I don't know. I dig it personally. But as I said, these books are already pretty expensive. $80, $37 for the regular A cover there on issue 59. The variant also 80 bucks could be had on that. And those are sales. And then we look at the asking prices. That B cover is asking 130. Then you have 50 to 110 on the regular. Sonic comics are no jokes. As I said, if you could find these in a box at a shop that doesn't care, doesn't know anything about their kids' books, their kids section, their Archie section, this is the stuff I say go digging through. Go dig, look for this stuff. These are the hidden gems that you can find possibly out there, because maybe not everybody's pricing all of their Sonic books, or they price them all at just a couple of bucks, regardless of what they are. So know the ones that you should be digging out, and that's what I'm trying to help you with. Moving on to, I got one more Sonic book, and another character again, Sonic Boom, which is I think it's on Hulu or Netflix. Another one of the animated shows, but there was also comics, had the first appearance of this character, Styx. I think it is Styx the Badger. I think she might be a badger or something. But yeah, my son thinks she's a great character. He'd drawn her on his own little sketch pad, trying to make his own little Lego figures of these characters. So I'm paying attention to that. So we might be getting some of these characters. So I'm going to play the odds and keep an eye out for these books. Sonic Boom #1. This first issue had some variants, but we're going to look at the regular issue first. None have sold on its own anytime recently in the last couple of months. But if you look online for asking prices, it's like $17 to $35. So if you can find this Sonic Boom, just the regular cover, you're doing all right already if you get it cheap enough. But in addition to just this cover, there are variants. There are 4 variants, and they're listed variants A, B, C, D, and E, which you can see down at the bottom, variant 1A. And these all, as you might guess, connect. You got A, B, C, and D, where you got Knuckles on a cover, you got Sonic on a cover, you got Eggman, you got Amy Rose, you got that Badger and Tails. Again, 4 variants, and these things all do all right. But you can also get them pretty cheap if you look into them. As exampled by the one sale over the last couple of months. This was back in March. So this was back before the Sonic movie, I think, came out and hit. So 28 bucks for a complete, I think, actually, I don't know if it's a complete or not, but it looks like it might be A through D, like the connecting set. But that was then. You want to see what's asking for now. It's like 80 bucks for the set of those connecting covers. Maybe get an issue through 2 thrown in potentially, and then you can see some of the singles are $10 to $40. Pricing is all over the place, and trying to piece one of these together yourself could be pretty expensive. So just be aware of it. So in case you're out there digging, you know what you're looking at. But that's my little Sonic update for you. Some more books for you to be aware of and keep an eye out for. Because look at how much these things are already selling for. Let alone what would happen if we know these characters are going to be showing up in like the next movie, and these kids go crazy for this stuff. But that all said, we're going to move on to a post I saw on IG. I told you, I watch you guys posting on IG too. I like seeing your pickups, and I like seeing the things you guys are talking about. And it spawns ideas. James, thanks for posting this Futurama book. It caught my eye because I love the Terminator homage. I think it's pretty awesome. Hasta la vista meatbag. I think it's pretty cool. His had this sketch on here, which is extra awesome. But even just the regular book is worth looking at. So I looked into it. Started looking at some Futurama books just for fun after that. And this book, #7 of the Futurama series, yeah, it does all right if you could find it. 35 bucks, $40 ask. They accepted 30 on both. May, and that's April 29th. So these are very recent sales. This isn't like really dated stuff. And the prices out there right now are asking $30 to $45 basically. So this is already an expensive book and a pretty cool cover in and of itself. And yes, there are some copies that do have sketches. They're asking like 180 and things like that, which is extra awesome. But it's kind of hard to gauge apples to apples when you're talking about signatures and remarks and sketches. So that's why I generally try to avoid touching those sections, because then you don't know what people are paying for, whether they're paying for the signature, paying for the remark, paying for whatever it might be. So just kind of put those to the side. It's a separate little niche of the market that I'm going to leave over there for now. This is issue 7, which got me spawned into, again, digging a little bit further. What other Futurama books can we look for if we find some Futurama comics out there? Because it only ran 83 issues, I think. But our next issue, issue 8, is a pretty cool, as you see, giant size X-Men, homage. You can see it. But what makes this extra special is the actual comic itself has like a faux grade slab look. I know a couple of things like Archer and Armstrong did that. I think a couple of series have done that. But here we have Futurama where they do it, and it's like 11.5, minty fresh. It's got a lot of fun little jokes inside that fake look of a slab of the actual cover. But you can see $40 to $65 for this issue 8 is already a good amount. So if you can find it in a box, and you can see the asking prices are still $40 to $55. So that seems to be the market for this one. If you can find it in a box somewhere, I don't know, cover price less, maybe a few bucks more. Again, I don't know how your shop prices things, so that's why I'm trying to tell you what the prices are. So if you do find it, you can make that call. I mean, if your shop has it listed for 40 bucks, well, maybe it's not that great a deal compared to where the market is. But if they have it listed for 20, maybe you start thinking about it. Maybe it's only 10. Maybe think about it a little bit more. Maybe it's just cover price. You should be picking this up. That kind of thing. That's why I'm giving you these prices, so you can make those decisions for yourself on when you go out hunting and go out shopping. Because again, I don't know what's at your shop. It's different everywhere. It's different all over. So these are just oddball things that catch my eye. And like I said, I see things, I start looking into things, start researching. These are things I'm looking for, things I'm buying, things I'm hoping to buy if I can find them myself. So that's what we're doing. And we got two more Futurama books to cover. These were early in the run, issue 7 and 8. So that's obviously I like to jump to the end because that's another sweet spot for higher prices. And like I said, the end was issue 83. So we're going to stop at issue 81. This dragon and this whole night thing kind of caught my eye. So I was like, oh, let's take a look into this one. And yeah, issue 81 near the end of the series, $40. And $40 with issues 80 and 81. So decent amount for getting one of those late in the run books. And only copy I can find out there right now is asking $38 plus, $7 shipping. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you can find this tucked away in a box, maybe you found yourself a nice little treasure. And then we have the final issue of the Futurama run, issue number 83. Kind of a callback to the first issue. None have sold within the last couple of months. And this feels like a Chasing Ghost entry because there's none out there either. So I have no idea what the market might be on the final issue. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And if you gauge it against what I just showed you as far as pricing goes. So if 2 issues towards the end goes 40, who knows what the last issue is going to go for. But got some more books still to cover. So we're going to keep this thing rolling. That's my little Futurama section. Hopefully you found that also helpful and entertaining, interesting. Gives you something else to look for. I got to get back to one of my favorites, Adam Hughes. Somebody, I forget who had asked, it was part of their list. They wanted like Top Cow books, like Witchblade. And I did Witchblade last week. Now we got to the Tomb Raider section. So Tomb Raider. I like looking for the Adam Hughes covers. Anytime I'm looking in Tomb Raider for the Top Cow run, I'm looking for the Hughes covers because they all do pretty well. And the first one was issue 18. Was the first Hughes cover that you could find in those boxes. And this one could sell for, look, $17. Not too bad. That was May 7th, so that's very recent. That was just a couple of days ago, yesterday, actually. And then you got the available copies asking $10 to $25 on that issue 18. Really cool Adam Hughes cover. Again, I'm biased. I freely admit that I like Adam Hughes, but some of these covers are already expensive. They're already part of the books you know. And if it's covering ground you already know, I apologize, but hopefully I already gave you some weird stuff that's new to you, but I still might have a little bit more new. So just keep watching. We got a few more books. And we're going to stick with Tomb Raider. And this is one that's been pretty popular. Issue number 33. I think this is a B cover because this isn't the regular cover. So this is technically a variant, but one you should go dig for if you can find it. I mean, it should catch your eye. I mean, it's gorgeous Adam Hughes art. This is $30 to $45 every time that it sells. And the asking prices right now is like $70 at $375 for a 9.8. Pretty steep, but maybe you can find this one out there if you get lucky. Again, it might be in a box, could even be up on a wall for all I know. But just base it off these prices and then make your own call if you really want one. I do have this book already in my collection, so I'm set. I'm just hoping I find another one, just digging in those boxes. But just randomly picking out of this whole run from issue like 33 on, there's mostly Hughes covers on most of these things. I mean, there's some skips and some gaps, but I just randomly grabbed issue 41. It's another one's pretty cool. You got the whole around the world map kind of thing going there. This one is a little bit cheaper than the last one. $15, $90 for a 9.8. Just something to keep in mind. Asking prices again, $15 to $25, and only $75 for a 9.8 if you were looking, to buy a graded copy. It's not terrible. But yeah, Hughes. Just like this next one, issue number 45, which is another one that people like. I mean, you can guess why. You get the whole sort of risque sort of cover there with the with the gun and the bikini, but hey, it is what it is. I like them. I like these covers too, so nothing wrong with that. But this thing could sell for $88 raw, $45 for an 8.5 PGX. Yeah, so it is what it is. Then 130 for that 9.8, which 140 for that 9.8, which not too bad when you consider somebody paid almost $90 for a raw copy. So on May 1st, 140 for a 9.8 ain't too bad. But the copies out there right now, you can see there's a lot. There's multiples Hughes covers in that lot. Like I said, keep an eye out for all of them. $80 for that group. And then you can see single $50 for a raw copy, and then a 9.8 right now is asking $185. So it's a little bit pricier than what's just sold, but yeah, still, that's what's out there. And then we got one more Hughes in the run because there's only one more comic in the run I want to talk about, which is issue 50, final issue I always like to talk about those last issues. There's no real bump for the last issue on this one. This is just another Hughes cover, which I think keeps them all kind of not expensive, but everything's probably at least 10 to 15 bucks. You can find any of these. So if you find them in dollar bins, I scoop them. That's what I do. Anytime I find them in a dollar bin, I scoop them up every time without hesitation. After that, it starts getting towards cover price or more. You start picking and choosing maybe some of the issues. And issue 50 is the final issue. Again, see with the Uzi chilling with the drink, pretty cool. Best offer accepted on that $44, $25 raw. Asking prices in still that $30 to $50 range. The accepted prices are $25, $35. You get the idea what we're talking about here as far as pricing goes with some of these. So that's the gauge and that's the range that you're thinking about for this particular issue. And some of those other covers that kind of really catch your eye, you're looking at anywhere from like 25 to 40 bucks. And maybe some of the lower end ones or some of the more common covers are still maybe in that $10 to $15 range. But depending on where you find at your shop, you consider what you think is a good deal. And these books that I grab them every time I see them if they're cheap enough. Definitely. And I got one more book, just one last book. I know Fathom was another one that was suggested going back to Top Cow. I'm not doing a whole Fathom section, at least not right now. I'm just dropping in one for fun because I kind of like this Charlie's Angels kind of cover. So this Tower Records edition for Fathom, it says #1, but this is actually issue 12. Tower Records, Charlie's Angels, Turner cover. You got Witchblade, you got Tomb Raider, you got Fathom. I like the three, the triumvirate of Top Cow and Michael Turner. So pretty cool. Pretty cool cover. This thing isn't that expensive. You would think it'd be super duper expensive because Tower Records, I think it's all closed down. I don't think it exists anymore. But $110 for a 9.8, and then a best offer accepted on 30 bucks where they took 25. And then copies out there right now are asking about 30 to 60. Just to give you a gauge. I mean, not saying that's cheap. I'm just saying it's an interesting little book and one that maybe you could find out there if you're lucky. And I think it even has a foil logo from what I can tell from the pictures. It looks like it's like a hollow foil kind of thing, chrome effect with the Fathom title. So that adds an extra little thing to catch your eye when you're flipping through a box. So again, be mindful. But that's all I got for you this week. Hopefully you found this interesting, this little selection of books. I try to give you some Marvel. I try to give you some weird stuff, even give you some kid stuff because, again, my son just yapping. So it's stuck in my head, so I'm making it stuck in yours. And hopefully you can find some of these books because some of them are already pretty pricey. And it was a surprise to me when I was doing some of this research. So hopefully it was a surprise to you. So now you have some new books that you can go out and hunt for yourself. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all the support and everything, all the love we get here on the channel. This is great audience, great viewers. I appreciate every one of you. Hopefully you're enjoying what we have here. Let me know again what you think in the comments. Make some suggestions. I will be watching. As I said, you saw I took James's post. I turned that into a whole little segment on this show. So I pull ideas from wherever I can get them, and just spreading the knowledge, sharing the knowledge, keeping this community, a part of one. I don't want to be secretive of the things that I'm buying. I tell you guys what I spend my money on, what I waste my money on, and I tell you when not to waste your money when I can. So hopefully you appreciate that because I appreciate all of you. And with that said, I will see you all soon with some more content.